Hey everyone, welcome back to MJ Forever. Today we're diving into the mesmerizing world of the king of pop Michael Jackson himself. From moonwalking across stages to breaking records and winning hearts worldwide, his journey is nothing short of legendary. In this video, I'm going to talk about how super famous Michael Jackson was and still is. Plus, I'm going to share some facts about his global fame that will blow your mind. Now, let's talk about fame on a global scale. Michael Jackson wasn't just a star, he was a cosmic phenomenon. With a career spanning over 4 decades, his impact is immeasurable. From the early days with the Jackson 5 to his solo superstardom, MJ's influence transcends generations. Think about it. No matter where you are on this planet, chances are you've heard the name Michael Jackson. His music, his dance moves, his style, it's all etched into the fabric of pop culture. Even years after his passing, his music continues to resonate, and the moonwalk remains one of the most imitated dance moves in the world. Michael Jackson is arguably the most famous person on earth of the 20th century. Michael Jackson practically owned the music world from 1982 to 1993. But before that, from 1969 to 1975, he was leading a band, the Jackson 5, with his brothers, and that was another big deal. It's like having 2 primes in one legendary career. Some people think these 2 big moments mixed up during the Jacksons' victory tour in 1984, and you know you're really famous when you have 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and 2 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame awards. In his super famous time as a solo artist, Michael wasn't just famous. He was like the most famous person on the whole planet. Imagine not being able to go outside without lots of security people. Living like that was like being stuck in a fame prison. But he had secret hideouts in Encino and Neverland. Now let's talk about those stories you read in magazines. Michael was like the king of those stories, and this was way before anyone said anything bad about him. There was a time when a famous magazine had his face on the front page every single day. That's like being the biggest news ever. And let's not forget how famous he was everywhere. From small African villages to big shot leaders, everyone knew Michael. When Michael used to travel to other countries for tours, the leaders of those countries would come to receive him at the airport. His concerts were like a big mix of people, from little kids to really old folks, from all kinds of backgrounds. Everyone loved his album Thriller so much that it was like a must-have in every home. And when his album Dangerous came out, it didn't just break records, it went straight to #1 on the charts. He wasn't just good at music, he was also a really kind person who helped a lot of people. In 2010, a French TV crew went to see the Yawalapiti, an Amazonian tribe that is rather cut off from the world. They have limited contact with modern culture. The crew showed them various footage on a TV set and asked what they knew and had heard about. One of the things they saw was a clip from a Michael Jackson concert, and they go, "Yeah, that's Michael Jackson."
Vous savez qui c'est?
Michael Jackson.
Comment vous savez? Il y en a combien qui le connaissent?
Today, being famous is almost nothing compared to a world before the internet. Back in the 80s and 90s, you could go to any place in the world and ask them who Michael Jackson is, and they would always know. That kind of fame much easier to achieve today, because the internet tends to be available even in the most remote areas. But back then, no way. There is a unique quality in Michael Jackson that is mesmerizing to all humans. It is the look, the strangeness, and the talent. It makes for a memorable experience. Those Amazonian tribes may have heard about some famous people, but Michael Jackson left a stronger impression. Across the world, in all cultures and countries, Jackson was present through modern technology and media. He was the spokesperson for family entertainment. He wasn't too adult-oriented, like Madonna. He entered every home in the world through TV. To put this idea into perspective, it was estimated that the premiere of the Black or White music video in 1991 was seen around the world by 500 million people. That is just the premiere TV screening of a single music video. His interview with Oprah Winfrey in 1993 was watched by 90 million people in the USA alone, making it the most watched interview in the history of television and, at the time, the 4th most watched program in history. His memorial service in 2009 was watched by 2.5 billion people. Nobody ever achieved any of that. That's how famous he was. I would argue that he was the most famous person in the world in the early 2000s. Hitler, Marilyn Monroe, Trump, Kardashian, Lincoln, or Gandhi are names that don't mean that much in other parts of the world, but Michael Jackson was, and till this day remain popular in every corner of the world. This because of his incredible talent, groundbreaking music, and his unique ability to connect with people from diverse cultures all around the globe. No one can match Michael's fame or even come close. Why? Because a king remains a king. Michael is a genius king who thinks about every detail to deliver his best performance. Can anyone sing and dance continuously for about 2 hours or more? Michael's music videos like Beat It, Billie Jean, and Thriller are from his first successful album, making him widely known and even boosting the popularity of the television channel MTV. It's a fact that he transformed MTV, making it a key factor in his growing popularity. Have you ever noticed how some artists are always with their fans? Michael Jackson was one of those artists. Fans would wait for him outside his hotel, and even at Neverland, they showed him lots of love. Michael really cared about his fans. Can you think of any other artist who gives blankets and pizza to fans, takes them to hotels, and talks to them all night? Well, I can't think of anyone else who does such amazing things except Michael. And what about today? Do you know of any artist who makes songs to help people, builds orphanages, and travels around the world to visit different orphanages and children's hospitals? They also give toys and donate millions of dollars they earn from their work. It's pretty rare to find someone like Michael who did all these incredible things. According to NME, CNN, BBC, LA Times, People Magazine, MTV News, NBC, Rolling Stone, BET News, The Mirror, Irish Mirror, Michael Jackson is the biggest superstar on Earth. According to The Guardian, Michael Jackson has the biggest fan following of over 4.8 billion fans, and he is so famous that if we cut MJ's fame in half, he would still be 8 times more famous than the second most famous person. And the reason behind being the most famous is his God-given talents and his hard work by which he was able to transcend boundaries of race, sex, religion, geography, and unite the world. Michael Jackson is the most influential artist of the 20th century and the most successful entertainer of all time, according to Guinness World Records. I don't think Elvis, Chaplin, the Beatles, or any other famous person is as liked as MJ. Some folks might not agree because they might not like Michael, but you can't deny how famous he is. He's like the second most famous person after Jesus Christ. Just go outside and ask people if they know Michael Jackson and you'll be surprised by what they say. Every person belonging to any community, caste, race, sex, and generation will tell you easily. Extremely backward tribes who don't even know who is the president of country and man has reached to the moon recognize Michael Jackson easily. I think there's hardly anyone on Earth who doesn't know him or what he does. In Asia, people see him more as a dancing god than a singer. According to New York Times, global superstardom on the level Mr. Jackson has achieved is but all impossible for pop culture heroes today, and quite likely it will never be possible again. According to The Guardian, it is harder for today's artists to achieve global superstardom on the same level as Michael Jackson. Michael was a radical pop artist in his desire for change. He wrote songs about racial equality, striving towards world peace and self-reflection to reach that goal. He allied himself with important causes before hashtags allowed you to do that without leaving your couch. He donated millions of dollars to charities around the world, and in response to his kindness, he was crowned African royalty. The Guinness Book of Records has written Michael's name 39 times. Michael is the most awarded solo musician with over 800 awards. Michael is the most popular musician even now, 14 years after he passed away. Michael donated over $500 million for charity. Today's so-called stars can only dream of Michael's level of fame and talent. To understand those times, let's compare them to now. Nowadays, we have smartphones, the internet, and YouTube. We can know about anything globally, and anyone can be famous on YouTube. But even with all that, nobody is as famous as Michael Jackson. Now, think about a time when these technologies didn't exist. What kind of talent could become so successful? Only MJ could do it. The whole world was either jealous or admiring him. People couldn't ignore such great talent. That's why he had to hide his identity sometimes with costumes and masks, but wherever he went, he made people crazy to see him. He's famous everywhere on Earth. His music and words inspired people. He had a mission and a message, and he spread it through his music and art. He became very powerful, and it's important to remember he was black. Some white supremacists didn't like that. So, a kind of race or witch hunt started to destroy him, or at least spread lies to lessen his influence. Despite this, he broke barriers of race and even gender. His goal was equality. In 1988, when Michael Jackson went to Liverpool, England for his concert, about 1.2 million fans flocked to catch a glimpse of the King of Pop. This event was reported as the largest crowd ever gathered for a solo performance in the UK. Not to mention, he sold out all the concerts with demands for more shows all across the world. He is the most downloaded artist in the history of music. His fame is so big that sometimes they call him bigger than Jesus. According to HuffPost.com, Michael was the most famous person on the planet. Everywhere he traveled, he created mass hysteria. The day after his sold-out concert at Prater Stadium in Vienna, 130 fans faint at Jackson concert. If Beatles were more popular than Jesus, as John Lennon once claimed, Jackson had the entire Holy Trinity beat. All the artists out there, whether famous or not, are inspired heavily by Michael Jackson. There's a huge list of famous celebs who cited Michael Jackson as their biggest inspiration. His impact is not only limited to singers and dancers, but actors, writers, poets, wrestlers, and even normal people are inspired by him. 99.9% dancers literally worship him. He invented music videos, and the music videos we have today is just because of him. He made dancing an essential part of the music videos. Stage presence and performances, live showmanship, style, attitude, fashion, music, dance, songwriting. His impact is everywhere. Michael Jackson was a celebrity's celebrity. Those who have had similar levels of fame were Elvis Presley, the Beatles, and maybe Frank Sinatra, but they still trail Michael Jackson, who was and till this day remains popular in every corner of the world. Michael Jackson died young. Michael Jackson was training night and day to prepare for the greatest comeback tour in music history. Tragically, it was revealed on the news that Michael Jackson's private doctor had administered lethal amounts of propofol. Michael had overdosed thinking he was safe and was announced dead on June 25, 2009. When he died in 2009, all the websites crashed for hours. This happened first time in the history of internet. The news was huge. All the news channels were showing MJ-related news for months. Newspapers, magazines, social media. MJ was all over. Whole world was crying over his death. We've lost many famous celebs, but never ever seen something in life like this, and will never see. To achieve global fame, you need to reach people from all cultures, including those with limited education. Jackson accomplished just that. It is unlikely that Michael Jackson's level of fame will ever be reached. Michael Jackson was a prodigy, a genius, a lover, not a fighter, a king, and the greatest entertainer of all time. He was oppressed, loved, abused, adored, alone, and missed. Michael Jackson is way more relevant than most of the alive or dead artists today. Thriller became the first ever album in 2017 to be certified 33x platinum. Michael is earning millions each year. He is selling millions of albums each year, and so on. People still love him, enjoy his music, miss him, and do great things in his name. He is still receiving a lot of honors and making records even after his death. Why? Because he is the biggest superstar. Stars will come and go, but there will never be another Michael Jackson. Thanks for joining me in exploring Michael Jackson's worldwide fame and stardom. It's incredible how his influence resonates globally even today. What are your thoughts on his impact? Share them in the comments below. If you found this video interesting, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more content, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, take care.